I think Americans just don't know sometimes which Mitt Romney they're dealing with.
I believe that since Roe v. Wade has been the law for 20 years, that we should sustain and support it. And I sustain and support that law and the right of a woman to make that choice.
In my view, Roe v. Wade was improperly decided. Do I believe Supreme Court should overturn Roe v. Wade? Yes.
Look, I was an independent during the time of Reagan-Bush. I'm not trying to return to Reagan-Bush.
The right way for America to proceed when we face the kind of challenges we face is to pursue the strategy which Ronald Reagan pursued when we faced the challenges of the last century.
Sometimes you wonder, is would there be some way to introduce some private sector competition, like what happens with schools in Florida where people have a dodge that goes with it? Who knows?
I said, what kind of options do you have? What do you think about a system that allowed you to go to different to private as well as VA hospitals? The response was mixed, but I don't have any proposal of that nature.
I think people understand that I'm a man of steadiness and constancy.
So you would be okay with seeing the payroll tax cut?
Look, I don't like temporary little Band-Aids.
Do you agree with him, and would you also support, when it comes down to it, an extension of the payroll tax cut?
I don't want to raise taxes on people in the middle of a recession.
So
of course
you're for
not.
it?
I think there's this question about what his core principles are. He's been running for office for almost 20 years for the senator and governor of Massachusetts. Then he was a pro-choice, pro-gay rights, pro-environmental candidate for office. Then he decided to run for president, did a 180 on all of that. So time and time and time again he shifts, and you get the feeling that there is no principle too large for him to throw over in pursuit of political office.
So when asked, will I preserve and protect a woman's right to choose, I make an unequivocal answer, yes.
Governor Romney, let me give you, take 20 or 30 seconds. If there's a Republican out there for whom this is important, who questions your authenticity on the issue?
People have had a chance to look at my record, and look what I've said as I've been through that last campaign. I believe people understand that I'm firmly pro-life. But these kinds of associations between money and politics, in my view, are wrong. And for that reason, I would like to have campaign spending limits. And to say we're not going to spend more than this in certain campaigns, in a campaign for senator or a U.S. representative and so forth, because otherwise I think you have money playing far too important a role. I also would abolish PACs. You probably have one. I don't like them. I don't like the influence of money, whether it's business, labor, or any other group. I do not like that kind of influence. I'll tell you what. $10,000 bucks? $10,000 bet?
Well, the results for the primary were coming in, by the way. We're finally able to get a look at who some of the biggest money people are behind these super PACs we've been talking about, especially those financing all these negative ads we're getting out of Romney, especially. Michael Isikoff's an expert. He's our national investigative reporter for NBC News. Let me ask you this tonight, Michael. All this negative advertising, something like 92% of which is negative down here, $24 million spent down here in the last few days. Who's paying for the Romney piece of this? What kind of people?
Well, actually, funny you should ask, Chris, because we've just learned in the last couple of hours, in fact, Restore Our Future, which is the Romney Super PAC, held back its filing with the FEC, which was required by midnight tonight, until after Romney had given his victory speech. They clearly didn't want to step on it. They didn't want attention, and it's easy to see why.
I also would abolish PACs. You probably have one. I don't like them.
The tip-off here came last summer when Romney himself showed up at a fundraiser for the Romney Super PAC. Remember, the original idea is these were supposed to be independent groups. They're not coordinating. They don't know what the other's doing. And then you had Romney, pitching donors, telling them to give to the Super PAC.
My own view is, consistent with what you saw in the Lowell Sun, that those people who have come here illegally and are in this country, the 12 million or so that are here illegally, should be able to sign up for permanent residency or citizenship.
People respond to incentives. And if you can become a permanent resident of the United States by coming here illegally, you'll do so.
And at the time, by the way, I crafted the plan, and in the last campaign, I was asked, is this something that you would have the whole nation do? And I said, no. This is something that was crafted for Massachusetts. It would be wrong to adopt this as a nation. Was able to put in place a plan that helped get health insurance premiums down and gets all of our citizens insured. If we can do that nationally, we help not only Michigan and the auto industry, but the entire nation.
He didn't create the recession, but he made it worse and longer.
I didn't say that things are worse.
I believe, based on what I read, that the world is getting warmer. And number two, I believe that humans contribute to that. And so I think it's important for us to reduce our emissions of pollutants and greenhouse gases that may well be significant contributors to the climate change and the global warming that you're seeing.
My view is that we don't know what's causing climate change on this planet, and the idea of spending trillions and trillions of dollars to try and reduce CO2 emissions is not the right course for us.
I'm not willing to sit back and say too bad for Michigan, too bad for the car industry, too bad for the people who've lost their jobs, they're gone forever.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. The headline you read, which is said, "Let Detroit go bankrupt," points out that those companies needed to go through bankruptcy to shed those costs.
I think people understand that I'm a man of steadiness and constancy.